To survive among wolves, you must never bleed in front of them. The moment you reveal emotional weakness in public, you shift from a figure of influence to an object of silent pity, or worse, subtle contempt. The world may speak of empathy and understanding, but its instincts are ancient. People respect strength, admire composure, and follow confidence. They observe you closely, not with the warmth of a friend, but with the curiosity of a predator assessing whether you are prey. When your voice trembles, when your eyes give away sorrow, when your body betrays stress or fear, the image of control fractures. And once that fracture is noticed, it is remembered. A person who cannot master themselves is silently seen as someone unfit to lead, to inspire, or even to associate with in high regard. When you cry in front of others, complain about your suffering, or lose control in a moment of anger or despair, you are not being authentic. You are being careless. Emotions, when displayed without control, reduce your presence. They invite unsolicited advice, undesired judgments, and uninvited competitors. The world is more brutal than it admits. Behind smiles are calculations. Behind concern is measurement. They weigh your stability, your composure, your utility. When you appear emotionally fragile, you invite narratives to be written about you, narratives you do not control. This does not mean you must become numb or hollow. It means you must become selective. Reserve your emotional truths for spaces of complete control or complete privacy. The battlefield of life does not reward emotional transparency. It punishes it. Even in moments of genuine pain, you must act as though you are managing it. Do not show panic when things collapse. Do not show heartbreak when they betray you. Do not show despair when the odds are against you. The strong are not those without emotions. They are those who know when and where to express them. Imagine two individuals. One suffers in silence, keeps a straight face, and continues forward. The other suffers aloud, vents to everyone, and falls apart in front of an audience. Who do people trust more? Who do they follow? Who do they fear crossing? The one who suffers silently commands a mysterious strength. The one who suffers publicly becomes a lesson in fragility. Reputation is not built in moments of triumph. It is carved in moments of crisis. How you carry yourself when the world is watching becomes your myth, and myths move societies. Your emotional discipline must become your armor. You must master the art of speaking with calm even when your heart races, of looking someone in the eye even when you feel like retreating, of maintaining posture and voice even when everything inside you screams. Every interaction is a performance, every gesture a signal. The mask of composure is not deception, it is survival. The world will never fully understand the weight you carry, and it doesn't need to. Its approval is not the prize. Your image is. Public spaces are arenas, not therapy rooms. You are judged before you are understood, and those who see you falter may never forget it. They may use it to disqualify you from opportunities, to whisper doubts behind your back, to change how they treat you. All of it happening silently, invisibly, untraceably. You think they are listening with kindness, but many are simply collecting data. Never forget that people mirror your emotions only to gain your trust, but they record your weaknesses to one day use them. The appearance of vulnerability may gain you sympathy, but sympathy cannot protect you from ambition, envy, or betrayal. Strength, real or well acted, is the only shield that the world recognizes. To argue in public is to trade power for pride. It is a performance that rarely ends in truth, but often ends in loss. The instinct to defend oneself, to correct, to retaliate when provoked is natural, but nature is rarely wise. In public, every word is currency, and every reaction is a message. When you argue in front of others, you are no longer simply addressing your opponent. you are revealing yourself to the entire room. You display your triggers, your emotions, your weaknesses, and your inability to stay above the noise. The wise man does not waste his energy trying to prove others wrong in public. He controls, redirects, and lets the fools talk themselves into their own ruin. Open confrontation feeds the ego but drains strategic advantage. The moment you raise your voice, lose your composure, or engage in emotional exchange, you expose your lack of dominance. True power never needs to shout. Those who are feared do not need to argue. They speak little, listen more, and choose the time and place of battle. If they choose to battle at all, public arguments are traps, because even if you win the debate, you lose something more valuable: mystique. The crowd does not remember the logic of your words. They remember the way you looked desperate to be right. They remember the raised tone, the tightened jaw, the visible frustration. All signs that you were moved, provoked, unsettled. And that is exactly what your enemy wants. When you argue in front of others, you elevate your opponent. You give them a platform. You allow their words to echo through the minds of those watching. Worse, you dignify their accusations by responding at all. The most powerful response is silence. The second most powerful is control. Deflect, redirect, or smile with indifference, and you show everyone that your emotions are not dictated by others. That you do not react, you decide. This is how you gain invisible authority. You do not win arguments by speaking more. You win them by remaining unaffected. People will forget the content of a quarrel, but they never forget who looked desperate and who looked in control. It is a dangerous mistake to think that truth will protect you. In the public arena, perception is more powerful than fact, and arguing in front of others allows your image to be shaped not by you, but by emotion, chaos, and misinterpretation. Even if you are right, even if your logic is flawless, a heated public debate can make you look unstable. The crowd often sides with the person who appears more composed, not the one who has better reasoning. This is why kings and rulers send messengers, not their own fury. Why generals strategize in tents and strike in silence. Power is not about being loud. It's about knowing when to speak and when to disappear. Those who provoke you in public are not looking for truth. They are looking for reaction. They want to control your narrative by luring you into theirs. They want you emotional, impulsive, defensive. When you fall into that trap, you validate their strategy. You become a participant in their game rather than the architect of your own. The strongest insult you can offer is not retaliation. It is refusal. Refusal to engage on their level. Refusal to acknowledge the bait. Refusal to lose composure. There is a higher form of warfare than argument. It is influence. It is manipulation without exposure. It is guiding perception without direct confrontation. The wise individual understands that control is more important than conquest. You do not need to defeat someone publicly to render them irrelevant. You can isolate them socially, discredit them subtly, or outshine them silently. Public argument gives them light. Strategy leaves them in shadow. In a world that rewards restraint more than retaliation, the man who stays silent while being insulted is not weak. He is dangerous. Because no one knows what he's thinking, what he's planning, or how far he is willing to go when the curtains are drawn. And that uncertainty is far more powerful than any public outburst. The desire to be understood is a weakness most cannot resist. People speak of their dreams, their struggles, their plans, as if the world is listening with compassion. It is not. The world listens with calculation. Every detail you reveal becomes a variable others can use against you. When you speak too openly, you surrender the mystery that protects you. You become easy to read, and what is easy to read is easy to control. The wise conceal more than they reveal. They speak in layers. They leave trails that lead nowhere. and they understand that silence is often more powerful than any declaration. Oversharing is the currency of the naive. In a room full of listeners, there is always someone who hears your ambition as a threat. Your success story will awaken envy, not admiration. Your vulnerabilities will arouse judgment, not empathy. Your goals will be silently measured, compared, and possibly sabotaged. The more you share, the more others know where you're headed, how to intercept you, how to outpace you. There is no safety in transparency. There is only exposure. You must learn the discipline of being vague. Speak in generalities. Let others guess what drives you. Let them imagine what you're building. The less they know, the more they speculate. And speculation creates fear, curiosity, and distance. 3 tools that benefit the strategic mind. If you tell them you're struggling, they will doubt your capability. If you tell them your next move, they will try to arrive before you. If you tell them your pain, they will remember where to strike. It is not cruelty, it is reality. Human nature is layered with ambition, competition, and insecurity, and your openness becomes ammunition in someone else's campaign. There is a reason the most powerful individuals throughout history cloaked their intentions. The unpredictable are feared, the predictable are played. When you keep your mouth shut, you retain power over your narrative. But when you speak too much, you hand that power away piece by piece. You become a puzzle already solved, a book already read, a plan already mapped out, and no one fears what they fully understand. There is a seductive feeling that comes with being heard. You feel validated, you feel close to others, you feel known, but this is often a trap. That feeling of closeness is often one-sided. You walk away feeling relieved, and they walk away with knowledge. Knowledge of what you want, what you fear, what you failed to achieve. The idea that speaking your truth sets you free is a modern delusion. In reality, speaking too much cages you in public perception. It gives others a fixed version of you that they will use to define your worth, your direction, your identity. And once people think they know you, they stop respecting you as a force of unpredictability. Let them see the surface, never the depth. Smile but do not explain, speak but say little. Share victories after they've been secured, not while they're still being chased. The man who discusses his goals publicly puts them up for public inspection, and the public will rarely applaud a success they did not benefit from. Instead, they will question your methods, question your motives, and quietly wish for your collapse. Envy is always silent in its build-up, but loud in its celebration when you fail. Protect yourself by keeping your journey private. Let your results speak when the time is right, and even then, let your results whisper rather than shout. There is power in mystery, there is control in silence, and there is safety in knowing that your story is known only to you. A private life is an untouchable life. Those who wish to harm you will find no opening. Those who wish to follow you will be forced to guess. Those who wish to stop you will never know where to strike. The less they know, the stronger you become. What they cannot predict, they cannot prevent. What they cannot read, they cannot rewrite. And what they cannot hear from your lips, they will fear from your silence. To openly confront those who hold power is not an act of courage. It is often a miscalculation of consequence. Those who rise to authority, whether through skill, status, wealth, or sheer influence, have not done so without learning how to protect their position. Their pride is not fragile, it is defended. Their status is not casual, it is fortified. When you challenge such a figure in public, you do not merely oppose their opinion. You attack their identity, their image, and their carefully constructed perception of dominance. And the response will rarely be proportional. It will be swift, calculated, and designed to ensure that you regret it. Powerful individuals, especially those aware of their own image, cannot afford to look weak. When someone challenges them publicly, they are forced into a corner. Even if your challenge is reasonable, even if you speak the truth, they must retaliate. Not because they are threatened by your words, but because others are watching. In the theater of public perception, silence in the face of opposition is seen as defeat. To maintain their authority, they will crush the challenge, discredit the challenger, and preserve their image, often through means that are subtle, merciless, and invisible to the crowd. People forget that those in power often operate with tools that others do not see. They do not respond with emotion. They respond with networks, influence, and strategy. While you speak with passion, they move behind the curtain. A word whispered to the right person can damage your reputation more than any public exchange ever could. A favor called in, a door closed behind the scenes, a sudden silence from people who once supported you. These are the ways the powerful retaliate. And once your name is stained in private circles, your public voice begins to fade. It is not the challenge that destroys you. It is the theater in which you choose to act it out. If correction must occur, it must be private. If disagreement must happen, it must be quiet. Those who confront the powerful in closed rooms with tact and timing often walk away unharmed, sometimes even respected. But those who seek the satisfaction of a public victory over a figure of influence often find themselves punished not for their content, but for their audacity. Public humiliation is the one thing the powerful rarely forgive. You may think you've won when you get applause, when people nod in agreement, when the room seems to side with you. But behind that applause is a storm, because you didn't just challenge their words. You reminded everyone watching that they could be challenged. And that cannot be tolerated. Power survives through control, and you have momentarily broken it. Now they will restore it, at your expense. There is a psychological dynamic at play that most people fail to see. When you challenge someone of higher rank in front of others, you unintentionally create a spectacle. The audience begins to see the powerful figure not as untouchable, but as human, as vulnerable, as capable of error. That perception shift is deadly for them, and because you caused it, you must pay for it. You become a symbol of disorder, and symbols are dangerous. That's why they will erase you, not argue with you. If you feel you must speak truth to power, learn the art of discretion. Learn when to speak, how to speak, and to whom. Public defiance makes you visible, but visibility is not always protection. Sometimes it is exposure. Sometimes it is the light under which your destruction is staged. The powerful do not always attack directly. They do not need to. They can make you irrelevant. They can let you speak freely while slowly ensuring no one listens. That is the true punishment, silencing your influence without touching your voice. In every system, every organization, every hierarchy, power is preserved by fear, reputation, and dominance. To shake any of those pillars in public is to threaten the very foundation of control. And no one with authority will let you do so without consequence. You may believe you are standing for justice, for truth, for reason, but they see you as a threat to the balance they have created. And balance in their world must be restored quickly, surgically, and absolutely. Neediness is not just unattractive. It is dangerous to your reputation. In public, desperation is a scent that predators detect before you even speak. Whether you are desperate for attention, approval, validation, love, or opportunity, the moment you expose that hunger, you give others the ability to control you. They may smile in your face, offer a helping hand, or even grant you what you want. but beneath their generosity lies calculation. Desperation is a signal. It tells others that you are willing to compromise, that you will bend, that your boundaries are elastic. The man who needs is the man who can be used. The more you chase something in public, be it admiration, status, or connection, the more you reveal your own lack. And people are drawn to those who seem complete, not those who appear hollow and grasping. Public neediness reduces your value. It tells others you are not chosen. You are seeking to be chosen. You are not followed. You are begging to be noticed. You are not respected. You are hoping to be liked. And that is a posture the world instinctively rejects. Even if you are competent, even if your intentions are pure, desperation repels. It creates imbalance. It implies weakness. It makes others feel they are superior to you. And once that perception is created, it is hard to reverse. Those who move with quiet confidence attract curiosity. They do not seek approval. They command it. They do not beg for love. They inspire it. They do not chase attention, they become its center. This is not the result of arrogance. It is the art of restraint, of knowing that you lose power the moment others sense that you need something from them. When your tone pleads, when your eyes seek confirmation, when your posture screams, "Notice me," you surrender the psychological advantage. You invite manipulation. People may act kind, but they will begin to place you lower in their mental hierarchy. They will feel they can withhold, delay, test, or ignore you because you have shown that you will tolerate it. This is especially true in social, romantic, and professional environments. The desperate employee gets overworked. The desperate friend gets overlooked. The desperate lover gets used. You may believe that expressing your desire sincerely will be respected, but sincerity without self-control is interpreted as weakness. People do not reward honesty if it comes from a place of emotional dependence. They reward composure. They reward the person who knows how to hide their hunger until they are in a position to satisfy it without begging. Never mistake silence for invisibility. You can desire, you can strive, you can even suffer privately. But when you display it publicly, you lose control of the narrative. Others begin to define you by your visible longing. You become the one who wants too much. And society has a cruel way of mocking those who want what it won't give. They joke about the desperate. They avoid them. They use them. They offer just enough attention to keep them hooked, but never enough to feed them. Because once you've shown you're starving, they'll keep you hungry to ensure you remain dependent. True power lies in appearing content, even when you are still building. It lies in masking ambition with detachment, hiding need beneath discipline. The less you seem to want something, the more others will assume you already possess something greater. That illusion is valuable. It makes you magnetic. People begin to question why you're so calm, what you know that they don't, what gives you that control. And in a world driven by perception, this is everything. You must train yourself to speak with the tone of someone who doesn't need a yes, to walk into rooms as if your presence is a gift, not a request, to engage with people as if you're choosing, not chasing. This shift in posture changes everything. It raises your perceived value. It makes others work to earn your attention. It flips the power dynamic without ever raising your voice. Those who do not appear desperate control the terms of interaction. They can walk away. They can say no. They can create tension. And tension is influence. The moment others feel they might lose your interest, they invest more of theirs. But if they sense you'll never walk away, they never feel the need to step forward. In a world ruled not by truth, but by perception, your power lies not in how loudly you speak, but in how precisely you move. The crowd watches, judges, calculates always. And in every public space, Your behavior writes your reputation before your words ever reach their ears. Reveal weakness and you are marked. Argue loudly and you are diminished. Overshare your plans and you are exposed. Challenge the wrong person and you are erased. Show desperation and you are chained. Mastery begins not with action, but with restraint. The one who learns to control his image, his impulses, and his presence in public becomes untouchable. He speaks when it benefits him, reveals only what protects him, and acts as if every move is part of a larger game, because it is. And in that game, survival belongs to the disciplined, not the sincere.